6:26.
Another.
Mute button. Okay. Oops. Mute button. Six 38. Live report. Thank you. Good evening, all. Dear participant, the Social Science Researchers Association is a registered under Government of India. It stands as a professional academic body committed to empowering the researchers, scholars, teachers, and academicians, promoting interdisciplinary and socially relevant research, providing platform for knowledge sharing through seminars, workshops, and conferences, offering skill building programs, faculty development programs, and research methodology training, supporting publication opportunities and collaboration of academic projects, and building a vibrant community that bridges social science, management, commerce, humanity, and education. Our association actively strives to bring together the experts, research scholars, and practitioners on common platform to the exchange of ideas, develop innovative perspectives, and contribute meaningful to the society through the research. In today's academic professional landscape, methodological literacy is not merely a technical requirement, but powerful intellectual assets. A sound understanding of qualitative and quantitative technique enables scholars to design robust studies, interpret the data meaningfully, and ensure that the research contribute to both theory and practices. Whether it is a new nuisance of exploration of human experience through the qualitative method or the practitioner and generalization offered by the qualitative approach. Methodologically, clarity is the foundation of impactful scholarship. We are delighted that Dr. M. Kavita will guide us today, bring insight into an area often perceived as a challenge and complex. Her experts will help us appreciate the strength, limitations, and applications of diverse methodological approaches, empowering us to make informed choice in our own research journey. On behalf of SSRA, I extend a warm welcome to Dr. Kavita Madam and to all the participants. Welcome you all for this today's international webinar on methodological approaches, exploring qualitative and quantitative techniques. Thank you. Now I request Madhavan, Mr. Madhavan, to introduce our resource person to the participant.
Dear participants, it is a privilege to welcome today's resource person, Dr. M. Kavita, Professor and Research Supervisor. With 25 years of teaching and research experience, he has built an illustrious academic career. Dr. Kavita completed her postgraduate studies at H.S. Rajas College, Pudukkottai, earned her MPhil from Alakappa University and PhD from Wales University, Chennai. and cleared the SLET examination in 2016. Her career includes service as assistant professor in reputed institutions and industry exposure in Singapore. Since 2012, she has been serving as a professor in Faculty of Commerce, Vistas, Chennai. Her expertise spans income tax law, management accounting, marketing, finance, corporate accounting, HRM, and banking. She has published over 172 papers and authored 8 books and contributed 28 chapters and holds 9 patents. Her academic excellence has been recognized with 28 awards, and she serves on editorial boards of international journals while actively engaging with professional bodies such as All India Commerce Association and the London Academy of Science and Business. We are honored to have Dr. Tabitha with us today to guide our session on methodological approaches, exploring qualitative and quantitative techniques. On behalf of SSRA, I extend a warm welcome to her and to all participants. Thank you. Now the session is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, madam.
Good evening to all, respected faculty members, research scholars, and dear students and all participants. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, madam. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, audible.
It is indeed a privilege to interact with you today on a topic that forms the backbone of all scholarly inquiry, qualitative and quantitative research methods. Research is not merely a requirement for degrees or publications. It is a disciplined way of thinking, questioning, and generating knowledge that contributes meaningfully to society and academia. So we are going to discuss about the topic qualitative and quantitative techniques. Just a minute. I'm trying to share the screen.
Madam, the screen is visible.
Yeah, yes. Okay. To begin with, research methods enable us to systematically investigate problems, validate assumptions, and arrive at evidence-based conclusions. Broadly, research is categorized into two major approaches, qualitative and quantitative. Both approaches are equally important and complementary, and the choice between them depends fundamentally on the nature of the research problem and the research person. So we have to find the correct options are qualitative or quantitative based on the research persons and research problems. So first we are going to discuss about quantitative research. It is grounded in numbers, measurement, and statistical analysis. Its primary objective is to test hypotheses, identify patterns, establish relationships, and make predictions. By collecting numerical data and applying statistical techniques, researchers can generalize findings to larger population with a high degree of confidence. So for the larger population and to get a high degree of confidence, we are selecting the quantitative research. This approach is widely used in disciplines such as economics, commerce, psychology, and the natural sciences, where precision, objectivity, and replicability are essential. Quantitative research answers questions such as how much, how many, and how and to what extent. So, to answer these questions, we are selecting the approach, that is, selecting the techniques, quantitatives. And the next one is qualitative research. In contrast, quantitative research focuses on meanings, experiences, perceptions, and social realities. It deals with non numerical data such as interviews, narratives, observations, and documents. So, qualitative approach, is the name indicates, it deals with only the quantitative numbers, but in contrast, qualitative deals only with the text, audio, or video. The purpose is here exploration rather than measurement. Qualitative research allows us to understand why people behave the way they do and how they interpret their experiences. The outcome of the qualitative research is rich, descriptive data that provides depth and context. Some things number alone cannot capture. Philosophical foundations, positivism versus interpretivism. At the core of these approaches lies a philosophical divide. Quantitative research is rooted in positivism, which assumes that a reality is objective, measurable, and independent of the researcher. Knowledge in this paradigm is discovered through observation, experimentation, and statistical validation. Qualitative research, on the other hand, is grounded in interpretivism or constructivism. So, quantitative is directed into the positivism, and qualitative is directed into the interpretivism, which assumes that reality is subjectively and socially constructed. Knowledge is generated through interaction, interpretation, and understanding human experiences within their context. The next one is research designs characteristics. That is, quantitative research designs are structured, predefined, and deductive. They emphasize control, objectivity, and replicability. The researcher remains detached from the subject of study to minimize bias. That is, the most basic form is seeks merely overall summary of variable under study, demographic composition of the population. So we are selecting the quantitative design types here. Then it represents the highest level of control. Quantitative design types represents the highest level of control, and it systematically examines whether a true cause and effect relationship exists by manipulating one or more independent variables. And next one is the methodological anchor quantitative versus qualitative research questions. Quantitative research designs are flexible, inductive, and naturalistic. Researchers immerse themselves in real world settings and practice empathy and reflexivity, acknowledging that presence influences the research process. Quantitative persons aim for objectivity, precision, seeking numerical answers that can be measured. They focus on quantification, that is already I informed like that what is, how many, what extent, and how much. For example, what is the average GPA of students in our school? And next one is data collection methodologies. For that, data collection methods are surveys, structured interviews, structured observations. highly effective for efficiency, low cost, and collective reliable, measurable data from large samples. We are selecting the quantitative techniques. We are conducting the surveys. They utilize standardized questions types like scales and multiple choice. And next is structured interviews. It is function as verbal surveys with standardized questions, allowing the interviewer to pace the process and ensure consideration of each questions. And structured observations, it involves the systematic observation and measurement of predefined human behaviors in real life. Types of quantitative research designs, that is descriptive, correlational, and experimental. And probability techniques for generalizations are the first, the purpose is to ensure results are generalizable to wider population. Quantitative research relies on probability sampling. For quantitative, we are selecting the probability sampling. And for non-probability is only for the qualitative, where every member has a known chance for selection. Simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, and systematic sampling. So quantitative samplings are probability, and the probability samplings are simple random, stratified, cluster, and systematic. Whereas random selection of individuals from the population without specific criteria are called simple random, and stratified random sampling or the population is divided into subgroups, and then a random sample is drawn proportionately from each stratum. And cluster sampling or the population is divided into clusters, often geographical, and then a random selection for entire cluster is sampled. Systematic sampling, the researcher selects a random starting point and then samples every nth number of population. Example, every 15th respondent. Qualitative data collection methods are interviews, focus group discussions, and observations. Interviews central to the method can be unstructured or semi-structured, focusing on open-ended questions to secure highly detailed personal perspectives. For example, given ask the question to the particular CEO or any employee of the concern, and we have given the questions, they have given the detailed answer for the questions. And focus group discussions, semi-structured group interviews, typically involving 6 to 8 homogeneous participants, valuable for eliciting social interactions and understanding how meaning is collectively generated. And third one is observations. Researchers immerse themselves in the natural environment to capture non-verbal behaviors, interactions, and contextual information that participants might not articulate. The next one is quantitative data sources and managements. One of the most important points to emphasize is that the research questions determines the methodology. If the question seeks measurement, comparison, and prediction, a quantitative approach is appropriate. It is the person seeks understanding, explanation, or meaning, a qualitative approach is more suitable. So here, data encompass any non-numerical material that captures descriptive meaning, verbatim transcripts, personal narratives, journal entries, photographs, and detailed field notes. And data condensations are due to the volume of data analysis begins with careful management. Researchers create display formats such as overview charts that systematically list key themes and individual informant characteristics. An iterative process or qualitative analysis is an ongoing process where the researcher continually reviews and revises interpretations as data is collected and analyzed. Quantitative research relies on survey structured, I already informed that, which use standardized instruments to ensure reliability and comparability. Qualitative research employs in-depth interviews, focus group discussions, and participant observations, enabling researchers to capture nuanced perspectives and social interactions. The analysis involves using specified statistical techniques to make sense of number-based data. The quantity data analysis is only for the number-based data and applies to summarize and describe to the basic features of the collected data sets. facilitate moving beyond the immediate sample to make scientifically grounded predictions about the characteristics of the large population from which the sample was drawn. See, we are using the large population for the particular study, for particular research. We are going to select only the quantitative techniques. Inferential statistics utilizing t-test ANOVA and regression. In quantitative research, probability sampling methods such as I already informed, random, stratified, systematically sampling are used to ensure representativeness and generalizability. But here, comparison tests for designed to look for statistical significant differences among the means of various study groups. First, t-test. It is used to comparing the means of precisely two groups. To find the get the result of two groups, we are using the t-test. In contrast, if we want to analyze two or more groups, we are using the ANOVA or MANOVA. And relationship and prediction test correlations determines the strength and direction of the statistical association between two variables. And regression analysis is a modeling technique that examines complex relationship and predicts the value of an outcome variable based on the input of one or more predicted variables. Qualitative data analysis is an iterative and interpretive process involving coding, theme development, memo writing, and constant comparison to ensure credibility and depth of interpretation. That is, it is an interpretive process focused on systematically organizing and interpreting descriptive data to identify emerging themes and patterns. And reading and rereading, the formal foundational stage involving careful, systematic, and repeated engagement with transcripts to identify constant themes. And coding is for involving developing systematic labels or data analysis to grounded theory, thematic, and discourse analysis. Methods such as thematic analysis, grounded theory, content analysis, narrative analysis, and discourse analysis enable researchers to systematically interpret textual and visual data, uncover patterns, and where appropriate generate theory grounded in empirical evidence. That is, for thematic analysis is flexible method focused on identifying, analyzing, and reporting distinct patterns, that is themes, across a data set. And in the sense of grounded theory is highly systematical methodology covering the entire research process with the foundational objective of constructing a novel theory that is grounded in the collected data. And in the sense of content analysis, a systematic and objective approach focused on categorizing, qualifying specific words, themes, concepts between textual or visual data. And finally, narrative and discourse analysis is interprets the structure and meaning of personal stories or examines the role of social and power relations in shaping language use. Rigor and ethics in research. Both approaches require rigor through the criteria differ. Quantitative research emphasizes validity, reliability, and objectivity, while qualitative research focuses on trustworthiness, including credibility, transferability, dependability, and conformability. And ethical considerations are IRB approval, informed consent, confidentiality, and respect for participants are universal and non-negotiable in all research designs. So, in the case of quantitative rigors are rooted in positivism, and qualitative results are only for trustworthiness. Universal ethical considerations are, that is, I already informed that IRB approval, informed consent, voluntary participation, potential for harm, and result communications. IRB approvals means all research designs must first be submitted to an institutional review board for ethical approval. IRB means institutional review board here. And informed consent, that means participants must receive and understand all necessary information, that is purpose, risk, procedures, and agree to participate. Then, for voluntary participation, subjects must be free to choose participation without coercion and can withdraw at any time without penalty. Then, for potential for harm, researcher must ensure that physical, social, psychological, or other forms of harm are kept to an absolute minimum. Then, maintaining scientific integrity by ensuring that all work is free of plagiarism and results are accurately and fairly represented is the result communication for the concern. Qualitative ethics, confidentiality, and respect for vulnerable populations. First one is confidentiality versus anonymity. Qualitative studies often use confidentiality. Researchers knows identify but keep it hidden rather than anonymity, making robust protocols crucial. Personally identifiable data must be anonymized. And next one is for respect for participants. Here, it involves approaching participants with humility, cultural sensitivity, and fairness, actively recognizing and managing the infinite power dynamics between the researcher and the participant. Vulnerable populations or special attention is required for informed consent when dealing with vulnerable groups such as children and elderly. A conclusion of these methods, that is integrating methods for comprehensive understanding, mixed method research, that is both qualitative and quantitative, is a strategic integration of qualitative and quantitative data and methodologies within a single research study. It is a pragmatic approach that combines inductive and deductive thinking to offset the limitations of using either method exclusively. In conclusion, it is important to recognize that qualitative and quantitative methods are not rivals but partners. Mixed methods research strategically integrates both approaches to provide a comprehensive understanding of complex research problems. By combining numerical precision with contextual depth, mixed methods enhance validation, explanation, and overall insight. So, we have to find the qualitative or quantitative based on the research questions and research problems, or it may be both techniques, that is qualitative and quantitative. To conclude, the choice of research methodology should always be driven by research question, philosophical orientation, and practical context. As emerging researchers and scholars, your responsibility is not merely to choose a method, but to apply it rigorously, ethically, and thoughtfully. Mixed method is the strategic integration of both qualitative and quantitative. I already informed like that. And next one is what are the key benefits of mixed method is complementarity. That is, quantitative precision is balanced by qualitative depth. If we use both technique means we have to get the balanced techniques, that is balanced result. And validation is integrating both data types allows for triangulation and cross validation of findings. Qualitative data can be used to explain complex, unexpected, or counterintuitive statistical results from the quantitative fields. And by requiring genuine integration of the data streams during collection, analysis, or presentation, MMR facilitates more holistic understanding of complex issues. That is, mixed method is more of a good method to collecting data from the concerned problem. And final thought is that the optimal approach depends on the research question, but the strategic deployment of mixed method is often the most comprehensive path to knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Now, audience, it's a time for interaction. If you have any queries, you can get clarity. Kritika Dhanush. No. Audience, if you have any queries, you can get clarified.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, while doing the quantitative research part, what will be the normal or the basic sample size which we need to take?
Pardon?
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask, while doing the quantitative research part, what will be the sample size, which is the basic size which we need to comprehend while taking the surveys or interviews or Google form?
See, for the quantitative methods, we are choosing the quantitative technique means if we get the population is very high, for example, more than 500, you have to choose the quantitative techniques. The result will be more, we are getting the good output for the quant.
So, ma'am, for the if you are taking Google Forms or questionnaires as the technique for quantitative analysis, what will be the sample size we can take?
Yeah, see, the minimum is for large population is, the minimum population is 331, the large population is more than 500.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So one more person asked, what is the difference between validity and credibility? That means are closely related concepts. Validity and credibility are closely related concepts, especially in research, evaluation, and communication, but they are not the same. Validity refers to accuracy and correctness, whether something truly measures or represents what is claims true. In research, validity asks, are we measuring the right thing? Are the conclusion logically and methodologically sound? And the common types are internal validity, external validity, construct validity, and content validity. In the case of credibility, it refers to the trustworthiness and believability. That is, it is used for the qualitative techniques, often from the audience perspectives. Credibility depends on expertise or authority of the source, transparency of methods, consistency and honesty, use of evidence and references. Lack of bias or clear acknowledgement of bias, it is here in the credibility. In qualitative research, credibility often replaces the term internal validity and focuses on accurate representation of participants and techniques like triangulation, member checking, and prolonged engagement. The key differences are focus, accuracy, and correctness, and the perspective, methodological and technical, and common use for quantitative research. Okay. Any other question, please?
Thank you, madam. Madam, one more question has been raised by
What is the question, sir?
Kritika Dhanush. What is the difference between scientific and non-scientific research?
Scientific research is a systematic, objective, and logical investigation aimed at discovering facts, testing hypotheses, or establishing relationship using the scientific methods. The key characteristics of scientific methods are systematic and well planned. And next one is scientific and unbiased. So in scientific research, there is no bias. And empirical based on observation or experiment. And it uses scientific methods and tools. Result are verifiable and replicable. Examples are laboratory experiments, clinical trials, surveys with statistical analysis, controlled field experiments. And in the case of non-scientific research, it relies on personal experience, beliefs, traditions, or objective interpretation rather than systematic scientific methods. The key characteristics of non scientific research are it is standardized, subjective, often influenced by beliefs, values, or emotions. Is it okay?
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Participant, I think you will get clarified your now we are going to conclude the session. I now request Mr. And feedback link is shared in this Google Meet. Kindly copy and paste the link in Google Chrome. Definitely it's opening. Thank you. Before filling the form, check your details. I request Harikesan to propose a form out of thank.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam.
Yeah.
Thank you, participants.